Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I have a little haul video to share. So a couple of weeks ago I saw that Uno Mas Colors was having their 1-year anniversary, and I know I've seen a couple of comments asking if I would ever review some of them, so I figured why not just grab a little bundle of polishes to try out and share. Uno Mas is a woman and Native American owned brand based in Southern California, and one of the founders is a professional artist, so they obviously really value having unique, super highly pigmented colors. And as you can see, I was trying to go for like a little bit of a rainbow lineup. So as always, I will save more of my thoughts for the end of the video after some comparisons. For now, let me just show you the swatches. The first polish I have is Main Character Energy, which is described as a custom red cream. In the description, it says that it's strong with 1 coat, but they still suggest doing 2. And yeah, as you can see, this looks incredible in the first coat alone. It's super creamy, very highly pigmented, so buttery smooth to apply, not thick at all. There is just like a hint of nail line there, but it's basically fully opaque in just 2 coats. Definitely a bold shade of red. I'm pretty sure this has a slight orangey kind of undertone, though that'll be easier to see later in the comparison portion. But yeah, for my full hand swatch, I'm showing 2 coats with glossy top coat. Next up we have Relit, which is a magnetic that sort of has this corally warm orange base color and a golden yellow magnetic shimmer. This had a fantastic formula, again just super highly pigmented, almost to the point that this could possibly be a 1 coater. I think I could get away with wearing this in 1 coat in the Velvet Effect, for example, but even in the cat eye, where usually magnetics need 3 coats to achieve full opacity, I feel like you barely saw nail line on the first coat. So yeah, this is just a solid 2 coater, but even that is kind of stretching it. I think I would call this a little bit of a subtle fine particle magnetic, because as you can see, the shimmer particle is really fine, you know, very delicate looking, and it generally does magnetize pretty easily, I would say. Like, you can see the Velvet Effect looks really strong. You obviously saw it in the cat eye effect before, but for my full hand swatch where I did the glass bead on my pointer finger, it just looks very, very diffused. I was not able to get a really tight glass bead, and I'm assuming that's because the base color is just so incredibly pigmented that it might make it a little bit harder to magnetize, sort of. At least that was my experience, again, just with the glass bead specifically, but I really, really love this color. The green for my lineup is called Dragon's Hoard, and this is a mixture of different sized shimmer particles. It's in this gorgeous green base, and the shimmers range from colors going from orange, gold, and even pops of blue. And as you saw, this had another amazing formula, just so incredibly full coverage on that first coat alone. Super smooth to apply with like a little hint of nail line there. So honestly, the first coat of this reminds me of how other shimmers would look built up in 3 coats, if that makes sense. But doing 2 coats of this makes it pretty much fully opaque. And I feel like because of the shimmer particle size in here, it almost looks like a micro glitter, but there isn't any glitter in here. As you might know, removal for me is always really easy because I don't really wear the polishes for long, but I could maybe recommend a peel off base coat if you don't want to deal with the little particles of shimmer going all up in your cuticles. There's definitely a visual texture to this polish because of those larger shimmer particles, but I personally didn't notice any texture like once it dried down, though I did see in the description they do recommend pairing this with a glitter smoothing top coat for the ultimate texture-free finish. I, of course, could not make this haul without ordering Casa de Heaven. This is a shimmery, sparkly blue with a subtle hint of purple. I personally don't think the purple is that subtle since that's pretty much the base color, but the shimmer, as stated, is a super vibrant kind of cobalt blue shade that sort of transitions to a deeper indigo in more extreme lighting. And as I'm sure you know, you probably heard or can infer from the name, this is supposed to be a better version of Mooncat's House of Hades, because unfortunately that one's a little notorious for having a bad formula where it's either very goopy or just really thin, sometimes needing 4 coats to achieve full opacity. Unfortunately, that has not been my experience with House of Hades, so I, just kind of always loved that polish, but I was just curious to get this one, see how it compares, and on its own, it is super beautiful. Again, as you saw, it had a fantastic formula, really nice coverage on the first coat, definitely the most sheer of the ones that I've tried so far, which is surprising since this is the darkest one, but it does build up to full opacity in 2 coats. The shimmer is super strong and glowy, definitely more of a fine particle shimmer as well, so it almost has this chrome-like effect in low lighting. The other must-have for my order was Beyond Icarus, which is a super beautiful, delicate lavender base that has a shimmery blue-green shimmer in the background, and this one also has a magnetic pigment that I thought was just silver, but it is apparently a holo magnetic. As I've stated in previous videos, I personally am not the biggest fan of holo magnetics because they are not stable. They just kind of disintegrate or something. I don't know what it is, but the holo just kind of fades, and yeah, I unfortunately could not see any holo in this one. Maybe it would have been stronger if I had direct sunlight for my full hand swatches, but either way, I just kind of was expecting this to be a silver magnetic, so it is gorgeous when you just think of it that way. As you saw, it magnetized beautifully. Even though it is a light purple color, it had fantastic coverage on the first coat, just like a little bit sheer, but pretty much opaque in just the 2 coats, even for the cat eye effect, which I personally love. I also found this one magnetized a lot easier with the glass bead on my pointer finger for my full hand swatch, so I did really enjoy that. Unfortunately though, I feel like my full hand swatches, because they're in this brighter indirect lighting, look a little bit washed out. Like, the color is so pretty in real life, and I feel like I just wasn't capturing how nice it actually looks. And rounding out my haul is just think how much more would be. And this is a very hot pink jelly that was originally supposed to be red, but because of color theory, it now is pink. That's absolutely packed with these violet iridescent flakes. I know I already have a couple of hot pink jellies with blue kind of iridescent flakes, but I could not help myself. I just wanted to see how this one compared to the others, But yeah, this one is super gorgeous. Since this one is a true jelly base, you do still see a hint of nail line on the 2 coats, but I feel like it is pretty obscured because of the amount of flakes in here, and these are those specific kind of flakes that look so insane when you're looking at it like through an iPhone. Obviously in real life they are really vibrant, but they're not like eye-searing in the way that they look on camera. And yeah, I feel like in extreme angles you can see more of that reddish sort of undertone to the base color, but head on it does look a lot more hot pink. And as expected, the flakies glow beautifully in lower lighting. Unsurprisingly, this is a favorite from the lineup. Now getting into comparisons, we're starting with main character energy and looking at it next to Cracked Polish's Peep Toe, as well as ILNP's Cherry. I figured Peep Toe was going to be the closest because Cherry is a little bit deeper and more of a neutral, or at least like a blue tone kind of red, while Peep Toe has a little bit more of that warm undertone. So I feel like they look like dupes on camera, but in real life you can see a difference where I would say main character energy is a little bit more orange. So for more orange leaning reds, I pulled out Holo Taco's Hot Take as well as Cirque's Road Rage, which was a neon initially, like a neon red. Obviously mine has faded a little bit, so it looks a little bit more orangey in comparison. Honestly, the same as Hot Take, so main character energy looks more red compared to these two. Next for Relit, I think the closest that I have to this is Cirque's Day Tripper, at least the now faded version, because originally it was more of this kind of hot corally shade. It still is coral, just a few shades lighter than what it was, and it does have a gold shimmer as well, but it's just not nearly as strong as the gold shimmer in Relit. Not to mention the Cirque has Holo, so definitely not dupes. For some more recent oranges, I pulled out Crack's 24 Carats and Fruity Drink, which actually technically are probably coming out later this week. But these are just some other sort of warm toned oranges. 24 Carats is a jelly though, and there's no shimmer, while Fruity Drink has more of a orangey shimmer as opposed to a yellow gold. And the base is a little more sheer in that one, making it look a little darker. And here it is next to Crack's Papaya and Mooncat's Poems for a Harvest Moon, which are more of these mid-tone sort of carrot or pumpkin orange bases. The Cracked is just a cream though, so again, no shimmer in there. It's a little bit lighter or just maybe not as warm as Relit, and Mooncat is a little deeper or more muted with more of a pink shimmer. Lastly, I wanted to quickly show this next to KBShimmer's Flip Out, which is another coral base with a bright golden shimmer. I thought these were going to be closer. I don't know if my bottle has faded, but Flip Out is a lot more pink. Then for Dragon's Hoard, here it is quickly next to Sassy Pants Cactus Bloom from Hella Handmade a few months ago. That one is a bit of a brighter green with just a gold shimmer. So I thought for some closer greens, I could show this next to ILNP's Power Surge, which is a magnetic, and Mooncat's Tectonic Shift, which sadly has been retired. Between these two, Tectonic Shift is definitely the closest, being this slightly blue tone green, but it is a little bit more muted in comparison, while Power Surge is almost like a green apple kind of shade with a pink shimmer. The shimmer colors in Tectonic Shift are a little closer with like the pops of pink and orange, but they are an even larger size, almost like a microflake. It's such a shame that I recently destashed Potion Polish's Cactus Grove without saving a swatch stick of it, because I do think it's like the closest to a dupe for Dragon's Hoard. The main difference though are those pops of blue shimmer in Dragon's Hoard, which weren't there in Cactus Grove. So if you missed out on that one, this is a great alternative. Finally, for Casa de Heaven, here it is next to Mooncat's House of Hades, and I also pulled out Olive Ave's Coastal, which is another super vibrant blue shimmer. It's pretty much an exact color dupe for ILNP's Sea Glass, by the way, but I'm going to be showing these three in 1 and 2 coats so you can see the differences in their undertones a little bit better since they are a bit more sheer. So Coastal or Sea Glass are going to be a lot more of these true blue colors, while Casa de Heaven or House of Hades are a little bit more purple leaning. As you saw from the first coat, Mooncat is a little bit more sheer, but it does have more of this indigo base color, while Casa de Heaven is more of like a red toned purple, and it has a much finer shimmer particle compared to the Mooncat, which almost looks like a microflaky. So they are not exact dupes, but definitely similar vibes. The only other shades that I thought were kind of close included Holo Taco's Playing with Sapphire and ILNP's Abracadabra. Playing with Sapphire is a sapphire blue shimmer, but in a black jelly base, while Abracadabra is more of that purple leaning color with a vibrant blue shimmer, but the shimmer isn't as vibrant as Casa de Heaven, and the purple is a bit darker as well. Like maybe on the first coat you can see they sort of look similar, but by the second coat, Abracadabra just looks super dark with a more internal glowy shimmer. Then for Beyond Icarus, the closest that I had to a super light ethereal magnetic is Vapid's The Seven Ravens from a previous polish pickup. They're not exact dupes by any means. The Vapid is a lot more sheer with more of a cobalt blue shimmer in the background, and the magnetic is pink instead of silver. So I think as far as closer lavender shimmery purple bases go, I have Cirque's Ohana and Nailed It's Compulsion, which is another previous polish pickup shade. But both of those are a little bit more like true lavender colors where they're more blue toned, while Beyond Icarus is maybe more lilac, being pink toned. The Nailed It is also a lot more sheer with more of like a minty green shimmer, so definitely not dupes. And here I have Fauve's Atmospheric and Nailpollies Glow with the Flow, which again are a little bit more lavender, like blue toned purple bases. The Fauve has more of this cobalt blue shimmer, while the Nailpollies does have this sort of metallic looking shimmer going from like pink and silver, but still not dupes. For just think how much more would be, I of course am showing this next to Cracked Polish's Sprouse from June's Polish Pickup and Apocalypse's Time to Take Over the World. While these are all hot pink jellies with blue iridescent flakies, there are some notable differences. The Cracked is a little bit darker, more of a cool toned like magenta pink, while the Apocalypse is more of a true neon that has even larger blue iridescent flakes. For reference, I did also want to show this Unomas next to ILNP's Malibu, which is a hot pink jelly, and Mooncat's Forces of Evil, which is more of a red hot pink jelly. Value-wise, I was surprised to see how similar Malibu was, but again, it is a little bit more cool-toned, not as warm as the Unomas, and Forces of Evil is a little bit more red-looking in comparison. And hopefully here you can see what I mean by those ghost flakies in Unomas or Apocalypse, where depending on the angle, they almost kind of disappear, while the flakies in Forces of Evil almost have this opaque look to them. And lastly, I have Cirque's XOXO jelly and Holo Taco's Gloss and Found, which I will be showing on the nail. They're just two hot pink jelly polishes that I think are a little bit warmer, so they're closer to just think how much more would be. I surprisingly don't have Holo Taco's Solar or Sonic Unicorn Skin, which is the cobalt blue iridescent flake, but I imagine layering that would recreate the vibe. So that wraps up my little haul and review from Unomas Colors. As always, I would love to know what you think of the shades that I picked up, because overall, I was just really impressed with them. I mean, you already saw for yourself, the application was just phenomenal. I was so impressed with how pigmented these were. I feel like creams, you know, usually are solid 2 coaters, but for the others that are like more specialty finishes, it was just so refreshing to see how much coverage you would get even on one coat alone, because you probably know that I often will complain about shimmers that are so sheer they just piss me off because they're kind of like toppers, you know? And I still do like a sheer shimmer every now and then. I'm not opposed to visible nail line, but it is just nice having like specialty pigment polishes be so opaque. So overall, I am really happy with the ones that I did try out. I feel like, you know, I obviously was trying to go for a little bit of a rainbow lineup, but also picking some different formulas. Like I know I got 2 magnetics, but for the most part, I was able to try a little bit of everything of what they offer. But I know that they have so many other finishes on their website. As always, I will have their website linked below. But yeah, I would love to hear if you've heard of the brand before, if you've tried them, what are some of your favorites. Let me know down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!